There's a guy on YouTube called Matt Armstrong, and he makes videos about repairing crash damaged cars.
I've just bought the cheapest 911 GT3 in the world. And today we're going to try and rebuild it in 24 hours.
And I've been addicted to Matt's content, not just because I like cars, but Matt is a master storyteller. And anyone in the content creation space should go and study his videos to the way that he raises the stakes, has setups, has very powerful introductions. It's incredible. However, there was a problem. Through watching Matt's videos, I watched him rebuild an Audi RS6 and I had to buy an Audi RS6. And I've been watching his videos ever since. They get uploaded on a Sunday evening and I'm the first person to watch them. But there was one car that he crash damage repaired more than once and I didn't realize it, but at the time, I was falling in love with that car. And that car was a Porsche 911 GT3. And I had to buy one. Now, for many of you watching this, let me tell you this. Most of us live on the hedonic treadmill, which means that whatever success we experience, we kind of just ignore and then we set another goalpost. We say to ourselves, oh, if I could just earn 5,000 more a month, I'd be so happy. Oh, if I could just get a few thousand more followers, I'd be so happy. And every single milestone that I've got to in life, I've got to the end and kind of thought, is that it? I remember thinking, when I hit 1 million followers, I'm going to be so happy. I'm going to get all my friends together. We're going to rent a private jet. We're going to fly to Vegas. The reality was you hit 1 million and you kind of feel nothing. Same goes with revenue for a business. You know, it's amazing. We're going to hit 7 figures soon. And the second you hit 7 figures on Stripe, you don't feel anything. So you say to yourself, maybe it's 2 million, maybe it's 5 million, maybe it's 10 million. And continually over time, sometimes you think to yourself, when am I going to be happy with the progress that I've made? And then you realize this is a very common occurrence. It's called the hedonic treadmill. And although we like to convince ourselves that if we just keep pushing and keep working, that maybe there'll be happiness at the end of the tunnel, very often there's not. And the crazy thing that comes with that is when you're making good money and it's not making you happy, you kind of feel worse than you would if you weren't making good money and you weren't very happy. Because you have so much, yet it's not really making an impact on a personal level. However, when I bought the RS6, every single time I got in it, through every week and every month after I bought it, it made me happy. Every time I started the engine and heard the exhaust crackle, I was like, wow. There are so many things that you can get used to in life. But for me, personally, having a nice car was one I'd forgotten all about. Every single year in my 20s, I drove either a Volkswagen Golf or a Polo, and I didn't really care that much about what I was driving. And the purpose of this video is there'll be some of you out there kind of probably making the same excuses as me not to treat yourself, whether it's a business class flight, whether it's a nice car. But honestly, I've come to realize these are the best things that you can waste your money on. Because every time you get in, it kind of makes you think, oh, do you know what? This is worth working for. Because so much of the success metrics that we have, they're just numbers. Followers, doesn't really mean anything. Money, sure, you can become less stressful, but there's nothing really physical. I then got nice watches, but then I felt like a dickhead when I was wearing them. If I was wearing an AP right now, you'd be like, dickhead. So it's like, fuck it. I'm not just going to buy my dream car. I'm going to buy 2 of them. You've not been in this probably before, have you?
I've not.
What do you think?
I like it. You can feel every bump. You can tell it's built for fucking speed.
Well, it gets better when you twist this.
Fuck, you know.
It's right, we're within the speed limit, guys, don't worry. I had to get a manual as well. The Audi RS6 is one of the best cars ever. Any of you that are thinking of doing it, get it. I was never an Audi fanboy before, but it's so comfortable, so reliable, it's just so good. And in some ways, it still is the perfect car, but the 3 issues that I had with the RS6 was, 1, it's a bit quiet. Although the V8 engine makes a nice crackle when you're starting and you get like a nice cold start on it, when you're punishing it, it doesn't really give you the noise that you want. Sometimes you just want to hear a bit of... And I'm someone that doesn't really care about going that fast. I would say the majority of your fun is had between second and third gear. So the Audi, I was kind of like, oh, do I get the exhaust up? Do I straight pipe it? Then the second thing with the Audi, I really kind of wanted an Alcantara steering wheel, which is like the suede steering wheel. And I was even thinking, maybe I'll go to Audi and I say, oh, can you change my steering wheel? Then the nail in the coffin was taking it to the track. The Audi was so good on the track, but going through corners, it just felt really heavy and lumbersome. And there were Porsches there were GT3s there were Aston Martins there, Ferraris, and I was like, I'm gonna go have a look at a 911. And I've never not bought a car that I've gone to look at, this included. Now, before this seems like a video where I'm showing off, I want to introduce a concept called touching your future. It's one for you, Declan. First time I bought a business class flight, I couldn't really afford it. It was pretty dumb. I kind of just put all the money that I had together, and when I sat there in business with no money left in my current account, what I was doing was experiencing what I could have in the future if I was just willing to work hard, pull some late nights, put myself in uncomfortable positions. Same with the RS6. When I bought the RS6, I kind of didn't really need it, but I thought, you know what, this will be my first proper luxury car. And the same with the Porsche. There's never going to be a time in your life that you can really afford one of these. But I have a feeling that sitting in this and having this as my daily driver every day will motivate me to do the things that maybe some days I can't be asked to do. Now, am I saying get yourself in debt? Am I saying make stupid purchases? I'm saying no. But I'm saying if there's something you want to do and you can still survive if you do it, you should 100% do it. Smiles per miles is the most important ratio here. If I think about the things that make me happy in life, family, partner, son, holidays, work, when you're a dude, there's just something you get from cars. And there's a famous Jeremy Clarkson quote, you're gonna have to find this, Declan, where he says that you can have a relationship with a car. He's like, everyone thinks this is just like 1.5 tons of metal, glass and plastic, but over time you can be in love with the car. I think I'm gonna be in love with this one.
It's what non-car people don't get. They see all cars as just 1.5 tons, 2 tons of wires, glass, metal and rubber. You can develop a relationship with a car, and that's what non-car people just don't get.
I don't even go anywhere. I probably won't even go to the track. I'll probably be too scared. I'll probably take the Audi again.
What is the track mode on that? How does that compare to the sport mode?
So, in essence, when you put it into sport mode or track mode, track's going to make the suspension even stiffer.
Okay.
There's another function called auto blip, which means that when I change gears, it revs to get like a smoother transition.
Oh yeah, I know that is, yeah.
So
can't you do that manually as well?
In manual, you can heel and toe.
Yeah.
So as you're braking, you put your heel on the accelerator, but this will do it for me.
Okay. Yeah.
And it just matches the revs.
Yeah, cool.
So that's sick. Exhaust is open, everything firms up. Now the best thing I like about this car is it revs to 9,000 RPM.
Fuck.
Which you don't get in any of the models. And it starts to 4, 5, 6. And the horsepower peaks at 8,700.
Okay.
So I'm going to see if I can get us near 9,000 revs within the speed limit, of course. It sounds crazy, but every once in a while you should just do something that makes you feel alive. Even if it's just swimming in the sea. In Australia, one of the things, I always used to take the piss out of cold water therapy, but then once a day I'd go swim in the sea, middle of winter, just because it makes you feel something. And also I think it's quite important to maybe do things that maybe your peers want to do. And here's another thing, some people are going to watch this video and hate it, hate me. But there's a fine line between being inspired and being jealous. I've been jealous of people before. Adam Sullivan with the Lambos, I blocked him. I was jealous. I work through it, we're good friends now. But like, it's so important that when you see people doing things that you want to do, that you're not bitter about it. Because instead you could so easily use those juices to just make yourself feel more inspired. Anyone can do this. Anyone. And this is on finance. I didn't buy it outright, that'd be stupid. Even if I drive it for a year, trade it in, get bored of it, sell it. Right, 9,000 revs. 6, 7. See there, we only got to 8. But it sounds so good. Oh! Now the PDK gearbox that you get with one of these in automatic is amazing, and there is part of me shift in here, I know that I'd just be thinking, oh, I wish I had a clutch. Pros about this car, actually let's start with the negatives. Not that comfortable. No front cameras, cup 2 tyres, very sticky, so stones can get chucked up. The other day I was going around a corner, a stone came in through the window. Expensive. And squeaky brakes, which you usually go with performance brakes. Positives, you feel everything. The sound. Oh, another negative, getting in and out. When I first got in, I was like, mate, how do I get out of this? You had to show me the proper way to get in and out of it. What else? Positives. It's just beautiful. You just park this in the garage and just look at it. Feels, it's just great. And I'd say having manual is a positive and a negative. Positive, you get to drive manual. Negative, you have to drive a manual. You have any questions about that?
So the exhaust is on right now, yeah? You can turn the exhaust off and on.
That's on normal.
That's on normal.
Yeah.
Can you get on max exhaust? Can we hear what that sounds like?
But it'll probably be the same as, so there's sport exhaust, but it's pretty loud both times. Just let me make sure there's no po-po. It says there's one up here.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's nice.
I've never had a rear engine car before.
And then you can raise this thing or lower it with the suspension, right, as well?
Great point. Yeah, so there is a front axle lift,
Okay.
which raises the front by about 4 inches. But also the back of the car is very low. So there's some diffusers on the back under the exhaust. And first time I took it in the drive, got a little bit of a scrape. But I've just come to terms that having a GT3, because it's such a low car, having the underneath scrape is just going to be a normal part of owning one. And when I take this back,
You can replace it. For
yeah, there's like an
reasonably
under
cheap,
tray,
right?
yeah. So I just have a feeling that probably that front diffuser and rear diffuser, whatever I trade in, they'll say, oh, it's worth this, minus 5 grand, maybe even 10 grand for that.
What about insurance for someone wanting to buy it? Is the insurance?
So my insurance on this is £200 a month, so like $400, which I don't think is crazy. For how much is your insurance a month?
Oh, I've only got third party.
Do you?
Yeah, it's not worth it.
So yeah, the insurance isn't crazy. I've got a pretty good track record. Oh, here's another thing that's quite cool. On this model, you get a track warranty. So if I take this to the track, 'cause it's supposed to be a track car, if I'm like ragging the engine, I blow the engine, they'll replace it for free. And
sick.
I've still got an extended warranty on the car, which you can't get wear and tear. But if something goes wrong, if that front axle lift stops working, it's Porsche's problem. Like,
So who would you say this car is for and who's it not for?
who's it for?
Yeah, who's it for?
You'll know. Because there are some people out there, right? Let's say you have a budget of, let's say the second you can afford car repayments of like £2,000 a month, $4,000 a month, but in Australia it's so much worse. One of these second-hand is more expensive than a brand new one in the UK because of luxury car tax. But once you can afford like, I don't know, 2K, 4K a month, a lot of people think Lambo. And I do love a Lambo, an SVJ, an Aventador. I've driven them. But to me, when I think fuck you money, I think Porsche. And I think that if I could afford it, I probably even would have got the GT3 RS. Maybe, I don't know.
What's the difference between the RS and the
GT3 RS, first of all, you'll see there's like 4 stalks on the steering wheel because you can control the spoiler and the diffuser and stuff. Massive wing on the back and loads of aero on it that just makes it look even sicker. But one of those here is $800,000.
That's insane.
Yeah. Which is £400,000 for a Porsche, which is just nuts. But if I had the money, would I consider it? Maybe. I actually think in some respects the GT3 can look better. But that's maybe what someone that couldn't afford a GT3 RS would say. You know, I've got to ask myself, did I pick this car over that because I truly find it more beautiful? Obviously because I couldn't afford the other one. This video is a little bit different, some of the ones that we usually do, but I just thought I couldn't have a milestone in my life without sharing it with you. Why? Because it's fucking cool. If you don't like seeing me win, then you can fuck off and watch someone else's videos. pretty sure YouTube is going to recommend a video to put here, one of mine that isn't about showing off about a new car. I'm sure you'll enjoy it, so why don't you watch that?